in 1998, Joshua Phillips had just moved to the Lakewood suburbs of Jacksonville, Florida. At that time, Lakewood was a very quiet area that had less than 7,000 residents, so outside of school and other recreational activities, it wasn't easy finding friends, let alone friends his age. One day while he was outside playing baseball by himself, he saw his neighbor Maddie Clifton standing in her yard watching him play, so he decided to call her over to play with him. So Josh and Maddie began playing baseball with one another, and at one point, she pitched him the ball, and the ball retracted off the bat and went straight back to Maddie, hitting her in the head, causing a huge gash. Maddie instantly drops down to the ground and starts screaming and crying. Terrified that he would get in trouble and what his father might do, he put his hands over her mouth, then drags her inside his house. Josh then starts pleading with her to stop screaming, but nothing he did would make her be quiet. So out of pure desperation and panic, Josh would do the unspeakable. What's up, my beautiful people? I am the Mysterious Black Bandit. Welcome or welcome back to the soon-to-be #1 true crime / tragic events channel on YouTube. As always, thank you all so much for your support and comments. You guys have no idea how much that means to me and this channel. If y'all are ready to get to this story, go ahead and sneak up and knock out that like button. Then secretly tap that subscribe button and hit all. But make sure you wipe off those fingerprints. All right, I'm sorry, my bad. That was kind of corny, but seriously, y'all go ahead and help your boy out. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this video. Joshua Phillips was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania, to his father Steve and his mother Melissa Phillips. Josh had somewhat of a rough upbringing because his father was an alcoholic drug addict who frequently tormented him and his mother. His father had all these strict rules that if Josh or his two half-brothers broke, he would become very violent with them. So, of course, with Josh being the youngest, he had become very afraid of his father. Now, in 1997, he decided that he wanted to move to Florida with just his wife and Josh. His two half-brothers begged him not to leave, stating that Josh needed them, and if they moved, he wouldn't have anyone there to look after him. But Steve was a very headstrong and stubborn person that was going to do whatever he wanted to do. Once they got to Florida, it was the total opposite from Pennsylvania. Josh had very few friends at the school he attended, and the community they moved into had scarce activities for kids his age. So outside of playing with the local softball team, he spent most of his time inside his home watching stuff he wasn't supposed to be watching. Although there were kids that lived in the neighborhood, most of them wasn't his age. Now across the street from him was a girl named Maddie Clifton, grew up in the Lakewood area, so everyone that was around there looked out for her. Her parents Steve and Sheila Clifton would allow her to roam the streets freely because everyone basically watched her grow up. Now when she finally met Josh, she wanted to play with him all the time. Now Josh's parents both worked as computer specialists, and most of the time they would leave him at home by himself while they were at work. Josh's father did not like it when any other kid was over his house when he wasn't present, especially Maddie because she was a girl. So he would threaten Josh to make sure that he wouldn't allow her over. Now on November 3rd, 1998, Josh was in his front lawn practicing his swing when Maddie came outside and seen him out there. She walks across the street and asked him if she could join. Since Josh knew what time his parents was going to get home, he agreed to let her play for a while. Shortly afterwards, Josh accidentally hits the ball directly at her, which hit her in the head close to her eye, causing her to bleed instantly. As soon as she saw that blood dripping from her head, she starts crying and screaming. Now, afraid that someone was going to hear her crying, Josh picks her up and carries her into his home, then sits her on the floor. As they got inside, she continued to cry and scream, which caused him to panic. So Josh picks up a baseball bat and hit her across the head with it, knocking her completely unconscious. He then carries her into his room and shoves her body under the baseboard of his waterbed. Afterwards, he runs back up front to clean up anything that looked suspicious before his father got home. Once his parents returned, he interacted with them like everything was normal, then returned back to the room where he heard her moving around and moaning. At this point, Josh was so afraid that his father was going to hear her, he removes the mattress, grabs a multi-purpose Leatherman tool or a Swiss Army knife, then stabs her 7 times before placing the waterbed mattress back over her. Now by this time, Maddie's mom Sheila had come outside to get her and her sister Jessie to come in to eat dinner. But after calling for her several times with no response, she becomes a little nervous. She then asks Jessie, "Where's your sister?" But she stated she hadn't seen nor does she know where she is. So Sheila immediately calls the police and files a missing child report. The police, volunteers from the Lakewood residents, and even Josh all came together to search for Maddie. Now over the next 6 days, they searched the forest and swamp, handed out flyers offering a $100,000 reward, while Josh knew exactly where she was and was sleeping just above her as if nothing was there. It was stated that the police even searched Josh's home room 3 times and mistook the stench of Maddie's dead body for the smell of a bird that Josh kept in his room. Now, the early morning of Tuesday, November 10th, 1998, his mother had walked into his room when she noticed an unusual wet spot on his bedroom floor. Then she noticed that part of his bed frame was broken and taped together. So she pulls it apart just to see what he was trying to hide. As soon as she pulled back that board, she received the shock of her life when she saw Maddie's lifeless foot sticking out. She frantically runs out the front door straight to a police officer that was over the Clifton's family's house, and all she could do was point. After they made the discovery of Maddie's dead body, Josh, who was at school at the time, was immediately arrested and taken in for questioning. Once he made it up to the interrogation room, his father, who met them up there, tells him, "You need to tell the truth and you better not lie." Josh then goes into detail about everything that happened on that day, confessing to the crime. On July 6, 1999, Joshua Phillips' trial finally began, and he was being tried as an adult on charges of first-degree murder. Throughout the trial, Josh's lawyer based his whole defense on the act that began as an accident and deteriorated through panic. That brought on madness. It was stated that Josh didn't have any previous history of violence. In fact, one of his teachers said that Josh was a silly but good child that everyone liked because he made them laugh. But despite that, Josh's lawyer never called up a single witness for his defense, nor did he allow Josh to speak the whole time, which was very unusual. Now, the medical examiners who did the autopsy on Madison's body testified that she was still alive when Phillips first shoved her underneath the bed, but after he stabbed her in the neck and several other places, she passed away. Now, with all the evidence they had against Josh, and on top of that, having a confession, it only took 2 days for the court to reach a verdict. On July 8, 1999, Joshua Phillips was charged with first-degree murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. It was stated that Josh spent the first few years of his sentence getting his high school diploma and taking college courses. Then after that, he began tutoring other inmates and helped them with their appeal. In 2008, during an interview, Josh was asked if he thought he deserved a second chance. He responded, "I'm not sure if I deserve a second chance, but I desperately want one." As of today, Joshua Phillips has been locked up in the Cross City Correctional Institution for over 20 years and is scheduled to have a review this year, which could possibly result in him being released. And that will bring this video to an end, ladies and gentlemen. This is another sad event that I feel should have been prevented. Now, this is my opinion, but I don't believe any younger person of the opposite sex should be left unsupervised with anyone older than them. There isn't any telling what could happen with those young minds, but like I said, that's me. So, what do y'all think? Do y'all believe he should get another chance, or do you think he should spend the rest of his life locked up behind bars? Well, y'all let me know down in the comments. Alright, family, I really hope you guys enjoy watching my content. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Then, turn on those notifications. Y'all make sure you live and let live. And until next time, stay mysterious, my friends.